Well, let's just go back a couple years, Sean.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So guys, he's pulling out his lovely little remarkable pad. And I believe these notes were from actually 3 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was our first conversation we ever had. One of them.
How revealing do you want me to
Go ahead, man. But I mean, listen, dude, you know?
So this conversation, Sean, we talked about how in that season of life, you were under a lot of stress. There's a lot of financial stress.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of questions of the future of the podcast and direction. And, you know, do I want to build courses and programs and coaches and do coaching, or do I want to just like have these interviews? Do I want to build big business? Do I want to, like, all the options, right? You're afraid of losing everything. That was the pervasive story. What if going after this dream makes me lose it all? What if I lose my wife and my kids and myself in the process? And it was a season where we talked through, we're dealing with some dark thoughts, which I've been there too. I've had those moments, those seasons. You know, I don't know if I shared this story the last time, but there was a point in my life where I walked in the bathroom with a Glock in my hand, and I said,
it was in your mouth. Yeah. You shared that.
I was done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I know that we all have these seasons, these moments, but it was really interesting because we walked through a process together, and I said, well, let's reframe this and look at the things that you do want.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's ask the question, why? Why do you want those, Sean? And so it was really interesting as we went through, and this is just for everyone listening. I want you to know, like, we have ups and downs. We have these seasons, we have these moments, and you're never going to get to all 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're never going to get to all 10s.
No.
And so it's not about perfection. It's about saying, and this is what a lot of the people that I work with is the question of intentionality. Did you choose that intentionally or not? Was that a reaction? Was that something that you just did because of default, or did you choose that? You know, if you chose the pizza, fine, cool. You chose it. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to know, right? Mm-hmm. Did you intentionally do this? And as we were going through some of it, you were talking about how controlling your thoughts was really challenging. Controlling your emotions was challenging. Your morning routine sucked. Your self-talk sucked.
Wow.
Fun was a 1 out of 10 is the rating that you gave yourself. I'm not having any fun right now in this season. Your joy was a 2, your peace was a 1, and your relationship with God was a 1. And so we went through this, and basically you out of 100 points, your score was 38 out of 100.
I remember this now.
Okay.
Yes.
And immediately you went to shame and guilt and just like, oh, I hate this. Yeah. I hate this. Right. And then we reframed it. I said, all right, Sean, now I want you to stop. I want you to tell me about the man that you know you are. And this is the reframe for everyone listening. It's not about hating who you are. It's about looking at yourself with what I call fierce empathy, which we've talked about, and saying, how can I treat myself as someone that I'm responsible for? How would I treat another person who is dealing with these things? Would I beat the crap out of them and tell them all, or would I say, hey, let's walk through this. Yeah, there's some things that need to adjust. But the shame and the guilt and the regret, no, you just need to remember who you are. And that's what I think is the key here, Sean, is that these dreams and aspirations, these things that we have, I always ask people this question. I say, what if those were placed there by God as an invitation? What if the dreams and aspirations that he's given each of us as individuals, when you think about it, what if those are little seeds that, like a vision that God has planted and said, I want you to chase after this. But the key is, I want to do it with you. I want to walk with you, and I want to father you. I want to guide you. What if those things aren't intrinsically selfish? And we had that conversation. I was like, Sean, like, what here is selfish? He's like, this isn't about me, dude. I want to inspire and encourage and help people get out of their own way. And I want them to see what discipline can do. And I want them to have an incredible marriage and a great relationship with their kids. Like, all these things were not just this, I want to be awesome and amazing and have everybody look at me. And if you ask anybody that is halfway aware, you'll find that most of the dreams and aspirations that they have are not selfish. They're because they want to make the world a better place. They want to give and serve. And so I asked you, I said, Sean, tell me about that man. Tell me about that man that you see in your mind, the one that you know you really are, the one that you want to be. And you said, he's smiling. He's glowing. He's on stages. He's wearing all black with red accents. Shout out to the red accents, Nike sponsorship. Come on.
Come on, guys.
You said, I want a tight fitting shirt where I look chiseled. Check out them veins. Show off the veins for a second. You said, I want it to be a big room where I'm able to inspire and encourage. I want to feel peace, gratitude. I want my faith to grow. I want to be a man of discipline. I want to be happy. I want to be excited to be alive. And then we walked through. I had you visualize. I said, Sean, that man, I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. And I want you to tell me, when does he wake up? And from the moment he wakes up, walk me through his day. Walk me through his day. Mm-hmm. What is he doing? And what does his life look like? Well, you threw some stuff at me around protein shakes, wild blueberries. One of the first things that I think that you said when the lights come on, the very first thing that I'm going to say is, I'm going to say, I love you. You changed that on your phone, Sean, after this conversation.
They do. Like,
I have it written right here.
2 years ago after that conversation, I changed that.
You said, I want to say, I love you. It's time to pour into you, to be happy with who you are. Pre-workout, get to the gym, treadmill, workout, sauna, all that. These are things that are a part of your life now, right? Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting. You said, when I leave for the gym, I want to get in a TRX. And for anyone that's not aware, Sean has a beautiful TRX that he now drives that was not in the picture at this time.
Right.
Because you were like, dude, there's no way. There's just no way.
Mm.
You said, I want this podcast to be hitting streaming platforms. I want a Mac Daddy studio. I'm sorry. Come on. Right? Now there's still levels, right?
Sure,
we know this. But you said, I want to be working with a PR team, which didn't exist. You're like, I don't even know what that looks like. Mm-hmm. How I'm going to make that happen. I want to have premieres and grand openings. I want to know who's on deck. I want to be able to live in Naples, have a forever home, right? You were sharing all these different things that were desires that you said, that's the man that I know that I can be. That's the man that I want to be. And I want everyone listening right now to understand something. When we were going through this exercise, this was not your reality. This was the reality of the man in your mind, and you said, that's his life. Mm-hmm. That's his reality. I want that. And what you did is you put in the work required to create that. And somebody said it outside. That's manifestation, mm-hmm. right? Manifestation is not some crazy woo-woo stuff. What it looks like is the creative process that says, I'm going to define a name. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to live. And you project into the future and say, how does he or she show up? When do they get out of bed in the morning? Because right now I'm getting out at like 6:30, maybe, snoozing. Yeah. No. I'm getting up at this time. This is what my morning routine looks like. This is what my day looks like. And you start to actively create every single day. And the more and more that you do that, you manifest and create a new reality. Mm. But I think the foundation of all of this, Sean, is a conversation we were having earlier, is that the reason most of us don't actually create the results and step into it, and you're living it right now. But what's crazy is that there's still that kind of dissatisfaction. Yeah, but there's another level. There's another level.
Up. Yeah, I was like, hey, come on.
And I was driving this morning on the way here. I shared this with you earlier, and I'm most mornings, one of the questions that I ask is, God, is there anything specific that you're wanting to show me today? Is there anything you want to tell me today? And I'm driving and I'm just listening, and all of a sudden it hits me. And I realize I'm driving down this interstate, and there's, traffic in Florida.
Oh yeah, dude. Right? 75, bro. Beautiful. And
I'm driving, and there's all these different vehicles, and different people are going different speeds, and I hit stop and go, so on and so forth. And I felt like God just dropped this in my spirit that I thought was for me, but maybe it's, hopefully this will be useful for those listening, is that he said, I've been teaching you about potential versus capacity for a while. And if you look at these vehicles, this is a lot like life. You have a specific destination that you're headed towards, mm-hmm. but so does everyone else. You're all moving in the same direction, but some people are going faster than you. Some people are going slower than you. But every one of them have a different destination. You're not all going to the same place. Mm. And what we do is we look at our aim in life or the place that we want to get to. And we think, okay, it's 100 miles down the road. Well, 100 miles down the road might have some twists and turns and bends. You might have some things, accidents that happen on the side of the road. A deer jumps out, alligator, whatever. We're in South Florida's iguana probably, right? Or
a gator.
Or a gator, right? And if you're not careful, you can misunderstand that that's what's possible. That's the potential that you have. But if we don't steward our capacity well, meaning that if I just pedal to the metal 120 miles an hour, guess what? I'm going to run out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if I put it on cruise, right?
Yeah.
And I'm focused, I'm intentional, and I'm driving my lane, and I'm focused on my lane, I'm going to get there. I don't necessarily know how long it's going to take or when I'm going to arrive. But the mistake we make, Sean, is that we start looking over at the other people. And we start, wait, they're going faster than me. They're going faster than me. Yeah. Why is this guy going so slow, right? And we get into this comparative and competition when we don't even realize, like, they're not even going to the same place.
Wow.
They're not going to the same, we're headed in the same direction, and all of us in life are moving forward, but we judge and we criticize, and a lot of times it's for ourselves. And I'm trying to process all this as I'm driving. And that's usually how God speaks to me. He gives me this download. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. What are you trying? And he reminded me of something that he shared with me a couple of years ago that you and I talked about a few months ago. An acorn and an oak tree have the same potential. They do not have the same capacity.
Yep.
And the mistake that we make is that we look at our potential, we look at the vision, we look at the things that we want to accomplish and achieve, and we can see it, but we're not necessarily ready for it because we don't understand our current capacity. If I take the same amount of water and sunlight and nutrients that's required for an oak tree to grow and thrive, and I give that to an acorn, I'll kill it. If I take the same amount of water and the soil and the nutrients that are needed for an acorn to grow and thrive, and I give that to an oak tree, I'll kill it. Because their capacities are different, but their potential is the same. And what we do is the acorns in our life, we look at our marriage, we look at our finances, we look at our business, and we're like, well, it's growing, but I really want to grow. I really want to grow. Well, fascinating thing about trees is if you try and force a tree to grow and you give it too much water, what happens to the fruit, Sean? It comes out twisted, perverted. It comes out wrong. It doesn't actually create healthy, good fruit. And so especially for men, we have a lot of guys that are like, I want to bring shade and protection. I want to give fruit. I want to be able to take care of all of these people that are in my life. But they don't realize that that's their potential, but they only have a root system that's 2 inches deep. They have not taken the time to grow down those roots through the difficulties and challenges of navigating life and being willing to say, I'm going to grow my capacity deep in understanding emotional regulation, disciplining myself, showing up and being present, being kind to myself, learning how to manage my time well, learning how to communicate, developing my skills and digging my roots down deep so I can grow up. Instead, what we do is like, I got to get there. And any plant, which as human beings, we're just complicated plants, right? Food, water, sunlight. That's what we need. We have emotions. We're trying so desperately hard to get there that we don't even realize that oftentimes when we get there, the fruit of our lives and the things that we're wanting to create, they don't come out the way that God intended.